Okay, so yesterday we introduced the clone stamp tool. So here's your clone stamp tool right here. You can watch the video. So basically the clone stamp tool is going to clone whatever you clone so you can put it somewhere else. So the first step is I want to clone the apple. I'm going to hold down my Alt key. Watch. Right now I have a black circle. When I hold down the Alt key, it changes to a plus sign. I'm going to hide my, oops, don't want to do that. I'm going to hide my eyeball. I'm going to go to my clone stamp key, and I'm just going to, all you're doing is doing this. Like, it's not very precise. What I would even do is maybe do the whole apple. Like, I am just going to clone this whole thing like this. Now, depending on your fruit, this could get tricky. So I'm going to turn my eye back on. Now, when I go in to do this, like if I click, you're going to see there is a plus sign. That plus sign is showing me what I am copying. So obviously I don't want to copy the stem right here. That doesn't work. And that's where it gets a little tricky. So if you don't have just a simple fruit with one color and you're having trouble, so like I'm going to hold down Alt, I'm going to hide my eye, I'm going to hold down Alt, and I am just going to copy this little part because this is the part I want to blend. Turn my eye back on, and now you'll see that that plus sign is around the eye, and so that is what I'm actually copying. But for some of you, that is just still not creating the best looks. So I'm going to give you another option. So let's say the clone stamp just is not working for you. Your second choice is to use the eraser tool. So if I come over here to eraser, you have lots of options. You have a background eraser tool, you have a magic eraser. We're just going to use the plain old eraser. Your eraser is controlled up here by the settings. So right now I'm at 13, my harshness is, so that means that the size of my brush is 13. Like if I make it 500, it's giant, which we obviously don't want to do. So I'm going to put it fairly low because I'm going to go in and do some details around the eye and try to erase some of these pixels of my skin. So I'm going to keep my brush pretty small. Your opacity is how much you're going to erase. 100% is going to fully erase. See, that fully erases parts of my eyes. Make sure you're always in the layer that you want to erase, because if I'm in the apple layer, it's going to erase the apple. So I want to be only in the eye layer. So that's pretty big. I am going to adjust my brush down even smaller, it's like to 7. And then again, if my opacity is 100%, it means I'm 100% erasing whatever I go over. You can also lower this a lot. So I'm going to lower it to like 20%. And then that's just going to help me kind of blend it into the apple a little bit. I don't really want that much, so I'm going to undo. But this just kind of creates a light blend, so it's not as harsh. I'm going to go up a little bit more. As the full opacity, and I can even you can kind of see it starting to blend into that fruit a little bit more without fully erasing my eye. So you can kind of see it looks like that. So the eraser tool will work better. You might even prefer it over the clone stamp tool for this particular project. So I'm going to do a little more erasing. I'm going to change my opacity back up to 100. I'm going to zoom way in so I can see all the individual pixels. And we're just going to erase some of these skins. Where it gets tricky is my eyelashes. So if you have eyelashes, it's kind of up to you if you want to keep them. If I did want to keep my eyelashes, I could go real small on my brush, like tiny, 1 pixel. And I could go in between, and I could make myself look really silly by erasing all the pixels that are not part of my eyelashes, which is a possibility. And then I can go back to my opacity, lower it way down. I'm going to bring my brush up just a little bit and just kind of do some blending in. That's a little bit too much. Brush is too big. But play around with the eraser tool if you feel like that clone stamp is just not doing what it's supposed to do. So you can kind of see that's my picture at 100%. I can add a little bit more. I can even go do the mouth if I want to. Completely up to you. But that is another tool at your disposal to kind of help you. And again, if you don't like any part of it, just use your history and do it that way. But there. That is another way that you can use the clone stamp tool. And if that's not working, the eraser